Hey y'all, it's Jeff Wiseman with Jeff Wiseman Electric, and I want to take a brief couple of minutes to explain to you why no one should ever call John Moore's services for any reason, electrical, air conditioning, or plumbing. I'm an electrician, so I can speak more about their electrical side of the business, and I'm going to share that with you right now. They got a catchy jingle on TV, 720-2525, call John, pay more. Okay, I'll bet you John Moore spends more on primetime TV commercials than I gross in a year, and most any other successful electrical contractors gross too. Let me first say I have no actual experiences with John Moore. Only secondhand stories shared with me by my new customers that have been ripped off by John Moore. I will say I've seen some of their work, and I have no idea how it could ever pass a city inspection. But what I do have is a good feel for how John operates. And in my opinion, this borders on fraud. John runs TV ads for free breaker panel inspections. Most smart people know nothing in life is free. People in sales have a name for people that answer or reply to these type ads, and that is mooch. Anyway, here's how John Moore works this scam. The guys they send out are trained, commissioned salesmen with an electrician's license, and they use psychological extortion to scare homeowners into overpriced repairs that are not necessary. Here's an example I got just last week. This guy just moved into Houston, and while moving into his house, he noticed one wall plug was overheating and melting, turning brown. He calls John Moore, and he had no other issues other than that one wall plug. He had already had a home buyer's inspection for the house when he bought it, and everything was fine. Here's what happened. John Moore comes out, asks to see the breaker panel. Surprise! It's a Federal Pacific breaker panel. Anyway, John Moore tells him and his wife the Federal Pacific panel was a fire hazard, unsafe, and needed to be replaced as soon as possible or the house could burn down. Okay, it's a 200 amp breaker panel, and John Moore wants $4,000 for the repair of the breaker panel. He tells the homeowner to go Google Federal Pacific if he doesn't believe him about the reputation for Federal Pacific. Again, the salesman is trained to do this. The John Moore salesman also got out a $8,000 thermal imaging camera and took a picture of the breaker panel showing one hot breaker. Well, guess what? It was a 240 volt breaker going to a central air conditioning unit. The central air conditioning unit had been running 4 hours non-stop because the movers were there with the doors wide open. Duh! Of course that breaker is going to show hot on a thermal imaging picture. But that's normal regardless of the manufacturer or age of the panel. The salesman makes the repair to the wall plug free of charge. And again, this is psychological warfare. He's being a friend to this homeowner. He's giving him a $125 repair for no charge. So now you're trusting the salesman. And because he's now giving you a free repair, you're kind of feeling obligated to give this guy the job. The salesman is in no hurry to leave and to get to his next customer like most contractors are. Again, they're trained to do this. Meanwhile, while Googling Federal Pacific, this homeowner also Googled John Moore and somehow found my website blog against John Moore, and he called me. His wife had been scared to death. She was afraid to sleep at the house. She was ready to give John Moore the job now. It was their new home. They just moved into town. She has young kids. John Moore frightened her to death. Back to the $4,000 repair. That's almost twice what it would be cost by any other contractor, including myself. I have another customer. Said his new wife was home alone and bored, saw the ad on TV, called John Moore for that free inspection. She didn't know about me or that her husband had hired me to upgrade their service 5 years ago, which was permitted and inspected by the city of Houston then. John Moore came out, told them it was a fire hazard and it was failing. Clearly it wasn't. John tried to scare her, but she caught on to it pretty fast and sent John Moore packing. I have so many other stories such as this, but you have to be getting the point about how John Moore operates, and I don't want this video to become a feature-length film. I have a plumber friend of mine. He tells me stories about John Moore offering a $59 drain cleaning service. But when John Moore gets out there, they tell the homeowner that the only way they can do this is with a camera scoping the pipes, and that's another $300. I think they call that a bait and switch. All I'm saying is John Moore is a big box store with deep pockets, huge overhead, Mercedes-Benz trucks, TV commercials on prime time, $8,000 thermal imaging cameras on each truck. They spend money doing psychological surveys, studying homeowners' reactions and scare tactics. John's main goal is to get you to spend money now on overpriced repairs that you probably don't need. Never let John Moore sell you anything without getting another opinion or another bid. While you're at it, go to Yelp.com and look at John Moore's reviews. You're going to find a buttload of really bad one-star reviews where people are saying, I wish I could give him no stars. Also, go to the Better Business Bureau. Their website has an F rating on John Moore with 368 complaints in the last 3 years. And if you read deep, you'll see where John Moore is being sued by the Better Business Bureau for falsely using their accredited member status. The Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, TDLR.com I believe it is, they've got a lot of reviews and complaints about John Moore all the time. I think that department has John Moore on speed dial, if you know what I mean. Here's what you can expect if you call John Moore. If you call him about electrical, you can expect that you're going to need a brand new breaker box. If you're calling about air conditioning work, you've got a freon leak and you need to replace your evaporator and your condenser. That's both units inside and outside. Plumbing, they're going to get you for a new water heater and camera scopes of all your plumbing pipes. Please pass this on. Tell your friends and neighbors. Do not call John Moore. If you've already called John Moore, use Yelp, use Google, use Angie's List, and leave them a bad review about your experiences. Feel free to leave them down below in the comments sections too, so other people can be aware of your experiences. Share your bad experiences with John Moore. That's all I ask. This Jeff Wiseman, please don't use John Moore. That's all. See ya.